Let's start OBS because there's no editing, and we're gonna check out Eris Kwan ones. If you guys like stuff like that, people talking about other people's stuff or talking about superheroes, he does that, I believe. I've seen him come up. That's why he's actually talking about. I believe it's the Clips podcast that I've come across a lot, and I've talked about what they say. He did is doing like the same thing I did with them. But clearly he has like a following. But it was an interesting take that I wanted to talk about. Especially that we haven't jumped in DC a lot. I talked about Rob Liefeld, which I wish I had the mic in front of me during it, and his thoughts on Man of Steel. But this is a different debate. So let's hear both sides talk it out, and we'll jump in. But we need the volume.
Live action superhero movie of all time.
The Dark Knight is not the best live action superhero movie of all time. Okay, let's be real here. Let's keep it 100. The only reason it's even in the conversation is because this guy right here. And not
So they say that Dark Knight, those guys, I feel bad like I'm not giving them their props or anything like that because he barely clipped them in, and I don't want to just snip them out of this. So I think it's the Clips podcast or something like that. If I come across them again, I'll try to get more info because a lot of people clip things and name it different things and whatever. At least this guy could tell you is Eris Kwan ones. He'll at least the guy on the left. I don't know their names. The guy on the left kind of annoys me sometimes how he talks, but they have decent points. I usually more agree with the guy on the right of the screen, his thoughts. But the guy on the left does have some good thoughts sometimes. At least I'm not even going to get into that. Yeah, so guy on the left, don't know his name, says Dark Knight is the best superhero movie. Before I even try to take my take on it, this guy's going to try to debunk it, and he's going to say why, and it's dealing with just the Joker. And this is what I hate about the Dark Knight, and I'll explain in a second.
just the Joker, Heath Ledger's performance as the Joker. So, like, someone else played the Joker, probably still not going to be in the conversation. It's his performance, which is iconic, one of the best performances in all of cinema, full stop, right? But even still, not the best comic book film of all time.
So, with that, I don't like the fact. Of course, I don't like Heath Ledger died. Let's just go there. But I don't like the fact that he died, and that feel like people started to say that overshadowed and made us love it more because Heath Ledger died. And he did such a great performance, and it sucks because if he lived, I think people would say the same thing, and they were like, "Oh, he would never got Academy Award if he didn't pass away." It was kind of like a pity thing they gave to him for a role that he did decent at. It's hard for superhero movies to get any kind of acknowledgement with anyone within like the big Hollywood studios. Even Martin Scorsese saying like basically superhero movies are garbage. It sucks because they're always like they were gimmicky for a while, and then people started taking them a little more serious while they made them, and they went further and further, and we're at now where these are legit blockbusters that are killing everything at the theaters. They're destroying every other movie out there. So I'm glad to be on that side of the fight, and I started there since I was little, and I'm glad to have these guys and the other guys in the podcast that we all were there from the beginning, and we knew what was up, that superheroes are great and amazing, and they're meant to be great movies with them. Now, with that being said, could The Dark Knight be the best superhero movie of all time? It is tough. He's going to have his reasons why, but first, I know he does say what he thinks it is, and we'll go to that. But like I said, what bugs me the most is that Heath Ledger died, so a lot of people try to weigh on that and say, oh, you just think his Joker's performance was really good because he died, and it was his last one, and you kind of got emotional attachment to it, or whatever. I don't know. I've heard the arguments about it. Some people think it's stupid. They make fun of his lip licking, and going way overboard. But I mean, there's other things about going overboard. Jared Leto. But let's just go what he says is the best.
Infinity War is the best comic book film of all time, at least in my personal opinion. See, my problem with people saying The Dark Knight is the best comic book film of all time, which, everyone's thoughts are their own opinion, subjective thing, right? Everyone has their own taste. And I love Batman. Again, this is coming from a massive Batman fan. But my problem with The Dark Knight is it's a fantastic film, right? Top 10, probably top 5, right? Because it is good. But my problem with them saying it's the best is that entire film is only as good as it is because one character, the Joker. He carries that entire film. You take Heath Ledger's performance as the Joker out, not even in the conversation.
So I would disagree with that extent. I think the movie's bigger than the Joker. It is, I always say, it's a Joker movie. It is just like Infinity War is a Thanos movie. It centers more around the villain, and we're watching his story, and we're watching they're almost the protagonists of the story, and we're watching their story while other obstacles get in their way. More so with Thanos in Endgame, but Joker definitely has that kind of vibe. Now, does that make it discredit everything else in the film? His performance just craps on everything else? I'm far from believing that. Christian Bale, I think, does an excellent job as Batman. People hate the voice. I'm okay with the voice. It doesn't bug me that much. There are times when he does yell and it does sound a little goofier, but it's to the point where I'm not batting an eye when I'm watching it. I don't really realize it until people really point it out. He does have a different voice. Everyone has their own Batman voices. I don't think anyone's done a really bad one. They've been just whatever. Or, I mean, Michael Keaton's whisper kind of voice is not bad, but I mean, everyone knows Kevin Conroy's like got the best Batman voice. It's not fair because he's a cartoon actor and he's just amazing at it, but that's just the way it is. But yeah, so I can't just say Joker solely made the movie the best or could make it the best film, because there's great performances in it with Two-Face, Gary Oldman as Commissioner Gordon. Just a lot of other things going on in the movie. It's funny, I have Civil War playing in the background. There's just so many factors in it that wouldn't be the only reason why I could see someone picking it as their favorite. It might be their lead, what's heading them towards it. But because it is amazing performance of Heath Ledger and maybe one of the hands down one of the best performances in superhero history. But it's kind of hard because there's a lot of things to look at: accuracy, how accurate they are, how well they acted, how well they bring him to life. I mean, Tony Stark, Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr. basically took him off the paper to the screen, and you could argue that is one of the best takes in superheroes. I mean, you can't really say about Star-Lord because Star-Lord wasn't really represented the way they did in Guardians of the Galaxy. The movie compared to how he was in the comics, you wouldn't argue that. Deadpool, you would kind of go, well, Ryan Reynolds kind of did pull him out of the screen and he just played it, so you can't really say that just go with his performance as the Joker. Does that make it one of the best movies because he's playing the Joker so well? Maybe it's because it's a hard character to play. I don't know. And it's a hard character for everyone to accept as well because everybody has their own version in their mind of the Joker. That's why a lot of people that don't like him as a Joker is they have their own idea, maybe even the Jack Nicholson idea or whatever. That's why anyone that likes Leto's Joker, I can't get with you at all. Like, I'll argue with you. I don't care. Like, that can't be your version you think when you think of Joker at all. But anyways, I think that's what a lot of people have the problems with when people dislike the Joker is because they had another vision for him, like I said, attached to the cartoon or even the comics. But I feel like this Heath Ledger Joker I feel like it had the heart of the Joker, but it just blew up to amazing. Like it almost became its own thing, but it was something beautiful that turned into it. Because we never had a real long-haired Joker before. We never had one that had messed up makeup like that. It was a different take on him in a way, but it still was a Joker, if you get my meaning. But let's go a little bit further with Infinity War.
Not at all. Or over here with Infinity War, dude, so many people were fantastic in this film. This film, the story, just the build-up, everything about it was perfection, dude. Black Widow, Thanos, Cap, just Thor, everything about this film was firing at a 10. The only thing firing at a 10 in The Dark Knight was the Joker. Hell, he was firing at it like a damn 20. Like, it was that good. Again, which is why it's in the conversation. But everyone else, not so much. This is where we started making fun of Bale Batman. Has everyone forgot? This is the film where we started making fun of Bale Batman. I'm not the one we're talking about. And like the fighting, like, it's just not, no.
It's kind of a weird take to go after in The Dark Knight, his fighting. The fighting's fine. It's nothing crazy. People will gush over Batman's fight, Ben Affleck's Batman fight, and just because it looks like Arkham Knight, and that's fine. That's cool. It's probably one of the best fights, right? But no Batman fight has really been horrible. Not to where it ruins a movie. The voice again, I get it. I don't know what he was calling, what kind of voice. He said the something Batman voice. I don't think that is a factor of making it a good movie or not. And he said there's only one good performance. I disagree. I think Harvey Dent was portrayed great. Commissioner Gordon was portrayed great. Even Alfred's portrayed great in every one he's in. This is going to be interesting when we go talk about trilogies. I'm going to talk about trilogies soon. Because it's going to be hard. And it's dealing a lot with the actors and the acting and the story. But I don't think all the things he's trying to discredit make Dark Knight not be these guys' number one pick.
No, okay? Like, you know, Harvey Dent was good and there were some other good aspects, but let's not act like everyone was firing out of 10 in The Dark Knight when it was really the Joker's ass carrying everything. The Dark Knight is probably in the top 10, maybe even top 5 for me, but number 1 right here. This is the best live action super.
I mean, at least he acknowledges that he's not like saying Dark Knight is horrible, but it's just for me, like, not, I can't shit on him for thinking Endgame is the best super movie, and I can't shit on them, or the guy on the left, for saying Dark Knight is the best superhero movie, basically. That's the problem, that he's like, there's no way, and he says, you know, everyone's got their opinions. He's not being horrible about it, he's not being a jerk about it, but I'm just putting my 2 cents. Infinity War has a lot of great things in it, a million great actors in it, but the only thing that's not fair, and I've gone through this in other videos with No Way Home, Infinity War, Endgame, even to Civil War and the Avengers, there's so much they had to build up to get to that story that it's kind of not even fair. Endgame didn't just come out on its own and stand on its 2 feet. Endgame had to have a whole universe built up. Not only do we have to get the Avengers first, we got 2 other Avenger movies right after it, and this is technically the 4th Avenger movie. Technically, it's the 4th Avenger movie. It's called Avengers Endgame. So it is the Avengers 4th movie. It's not fair. I don't really count it as the 4th because I feel like it's just a huge MCU movie. Like, I'm going to talk about 4th movies out of franchises that get out of the trilogy. And I don't think I even could put this in there because it's not fair. It's just really not. Now, they had, like, so Batman Begins, I think, was really great. I think Batman Begins is one of the best origin stories out there. There's a lot of good superhero movies, I think, that have good origin stories, but I was always really impressed with Batman Begins. He's barely Batman in it, I feel, and still did a really good job. And a lot with the training and Raws, and just a lot of good stuff was in it that they captured. That we've seen Batman's origin a million times, and I wouldn't even care if they skipped over it, kind of like they did with the Batman, because that's what they did with Spider-Man, and it worked. We don't need to hear it over and over and over. But the fact that we kind of got it in Batman Begins, I shouldn't say kind of, we got it in Batman Begins, but it was done solid. It was done in a good way. But yeah, so they only had one movie to go off to do The Dark Knight. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. He's got like
superhero film. Everything was firing out of 10. Every single character, every single arc, the stakes, the build-up, the emotion. It was just flawless, in my personal opinion. Number 1, and that's coming from a massive Batman fan.
Do you think men can become women?
That's a weird thing to say. So, do you think men can become women? So, my thing is, I think it was firing off fine. It had its own high stakes. The boat scene at the end was very well done. Very well done. The other things he's comparing to it, I think The Dark Knight has. And again, I think Endgame would be unfair to give that leverage to them because they have like 20, 30 characters in it, basically, that from small to Wong to huge to Iron Man, that, you know, to Ebony Maw, we have a lot of big characters that we've all been waiting for to see together. Not only that, we got to see other smaller villains. We got to get cool returns. Captain America returning alone is a freaking awesome moment in the movie. There's a million great moments in that movie. It's Easter egg fest. It's Endgame. I mean, I'm sorry, it's Infinity War. That and Endgame it's just hard to put those against anything. Now, what I will not do is tell you my favorite one because I don't think I can choose, to be honest with you. Because I'd be putting contenders in there like Ninja Turtles, the first one, that was a comic. I would put in The Crow, that was a comic. The Crow is a great movie. Now you could go and say, well, it wasn't like this big, there was no stakes. It's not that kind of story. Doesn't mean that makes it your favorite, not make it able to be chosen as your favorite movie. The Crow, if you said was your favorite movie, I would not blame you. It's taken from the comic. It's adapted very well. It's on a lower budget. It's dark. It's gritty. And it was great performances. Brandon Lee was amazing in it all around. Now, if you went somewhere else with it and said, I think Blade's my favorite movie, I couldn't argue with it. Blade was mind-blowing for me. At that time, there was no superhero movie. And you could come at me with this. There was no movie that was like a superhero that was like dark and gritty, but it was Marvel or DC. There was nothing out there like that. The closest thing we had was Batman 89 and maybe Returns, but it wasn't the same darkness of basically a horror movie in a way that blew up, that kicked down the door for Marvel to start making movies. That's how we got X-Men and Spider-Man, was because of Blade. So I wouldn't argue with anyone that said Blade's their favorite movie. I wouldn't argue with anyone that said Guardians is their favorite movie. It's hard to talk about the Snyder movies. Even the Man of Guns Superman is good, really good, but I don't think it can contend with Dark Knight or Batman Begins. Honestly, but yeah, the point of all this is it's fine for it to be their favorite or his favorite, the guy in the hat. It's fine for him to have that as his favorite movie, and you can't really argue against it because, again, he says it himself. It's all opinions, but I can't crap on too many things on it just because this other movie has all this other stuff, but it's not fair. It's not fair battle. And again, what I always go down in history saying the best well-rounded movie may not be my favorite is Winter Soldier, because again, you could take Captain America out of it, Winter Soldier out of it, give them different names, give everyone different looks or whatever, and it would still tell a very good story. It didn't have to have Captain America, the first one, really, to be in it. Granted, we did need Bucky and all this story, but you could have just made some stuff up, right? You didn't need to have Captain America movie come out. You could have just had this story about this guy and he lost his friend and his friend comes back, whatever. You could have done something like that. They didn't necessarily need, if you're going to take the script of Winter Soldier and change it with names, it wouldn't have messed up that you didn't use Captain America's script before to tell a movie before. It would have worked fine. It could have been a standalone movie. I will tell you that's probably one of the best, I think the best, well done, all around movie as a story, espionage, up there with like great movies, just because it's very well, it's just very well articulated. It's just good all around. The stakes are high, like he talked about. The acting's great. The story is driven. There are emotions in it. It's really crazy. But does that make it like my favorite movie? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think I don't think Winter Soldier is my favorite movie. I can tell you it's probably one of the best movies. It's probably the most done well movie that could transfer for people that don't like Marvel or DC and watch a movie. They could probably enjoy Winter Soldier if they're like, I don't know, James Bond fan or Mission Impossible fan or something like that. They could definitely either jump into Winter Soldier a lot easier because it's open. It's not really so secluded to the Marvel universe that we don't have to really worry about with that the Avengers and things like that. And it's just, again, it's just a crazy spy movie basically, but it's just really well written, really done well, and there's a reason why the Russo brothers did that and they get their hands on everything else is because how well they do things. But again, I think Dark Knight could be someone's favorite. That's my bottom line. Dark Knight could be someone's favorite. I think Endgame could be someone's favorite. I think, like he said, Infinity War could be someone's favorite. But I just think you have to look at the variables before we sit there and say, no, this one can't and this one can. And again, I can't pick. There's too many that are on like the same level or I hold in my heart for different reasons. I mean, Ninja Turtles 1, it was a cartoon, but it was a comic, and the movie was based off the comic, the grittiness, and that's why they had to change it for number 2 because they didn't like that it wasn't appealing to kids. Unfortunately for them, I was a kid and it appealed the hell to me. I loved it. Was I reading the comics then? No, I had the toys and stuff. Growing up, I ended up reading the comics and all that, but I appreciated that they didn't pull punches when they made the movie. So can I throw that hat into it? Can I put Batman 89 into it? Yeah, Batman 89 was crazy. Can I put Blade into it? Yeah. All these can be your favorite movies, and that's why I cannot pick one. I will refuse to pick one. It's just hard. Like, my favorite superhero is Wolverine. Do I think his movies are all great? No. Are some decent performances? Okay, yeah. And Old Man Logan's probably one of the best? Yeah. But does it feel like a superhero movie? Not really. I mean, so there's all kinds of ways to come at this. But basically, I'm saying you have the right to say Dark Knight is your favorite movie. You have a right to say Endgame is your favorite movie. I just will not tell you my favorite movie because I don't have one. They're all too good. The ones I would put on my list, I'd probably make, like I said, a top list, and I couldn't put them in order because it'd be really hard for me to pick. Now, doing like an MCU list I've talked about doing before, that might be a little bit easier. But going off like these genres and different stuff, it's hard. Throwing Blade into it and The Crow and Ninja Turtles, it's difficult. It's really hard. You can even go far as Men in Black. Men in Black's a comic, but Men in Black, it's a good movie. It's really good. It's really entertaining. But yeah, it wouldn't be my top movies. But if you said that, I'm not going to argue with you. I would say Will Smith not the greatest actor, but I love Tom Lee Jones. But I'll probably argue with you on that. But yeah, so basically that's my rant for this is Dark Knight and Endgame could be your favorite movie, and that's fine. If you say Man of Steel, I'll laugh at you. But other than that, that's it. So we're going to shut this off and not edit it and just put it up. All right, guys. Talk to you hopefully soon.